All right, man. Torture Talk. You know what it is, man. OT, OT, OT. You know what I'm saying? All right, man. Look, man. So you already know I'm out of town. My webcam had broke, so I fixed it up, making it look better than what it did. So we just gonna run with this for right now. All right. So look, man. Uh, Fantastic Hip Hop has dropped a video talking about Drake's new album and how he's stealing from certain artists. So we're going to get into that. Before I get into that, you know I got to get a legendary spill. This is Torture Talk. If you like the content, please consider subscribing. If you're new here, let me work for your subscription today. All the beautiful, single, sexy ladies, put one in the chat. All the fellas, y'all know to find the ones that just don't harass them. I don't sell no merch, but I do have content absolutely free. But if you want to leave a donation, link is in the description. Cash App, no more PayPal. They called me the hidden gem. I went from 1,300 subscribers over 13,000, 14,000, 15,000. And yes, I am the King of the North. Let me know where kingdom you from. Also, March 23rd will be the very first live on this page. So if you were into battle rap, you will see me versus J Dev. Look J Dev up. J Dev. Look J Dev up. Yeah, man. So let's get to it, man. No more talking, no more waiting. Let's get to it. All right, so let's go.
And embarrassing chapters of a rapper's career that we have ever seen. Drake has finally released the collab album that he has been hyping up with Party Next Door, and now while this record just came out, what is already so clear is that as this is Drake's first album release since losing everything to Kendrick Lamar in their beef, and of course following so many other problems that he has created. In terms of what Drake should be trying to prove, the stakes have never been higher, but in this time where if this album fails, Drake is more than done forever, let me put this into perspective from the fact that Kendrick Lamar told him to stop rapping as he likes Drake with the melodies, and he did just that here. So also...
Yeah, man. The irony in that's crazy. So you did exactly what the man said. I don't like Drake. I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he act tough. And you went and did that. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm on my third listen, and I got a lot to say about that album. You know what I'm saying? A lot to say. So, but yeah, man. If this one fails, I'll put it to you like this. I actually think Drake is done either way. I don't even if this album was even if this album is successful, I just don't think he's gonna. Me personally, I just don't see how he comes back from this, because this album isn't the album that would put him back in that place. This is another one of those albums that he has created that basically is the same as what he usually do. That's just my opinion. Yeah, so let's keep it going.
Perspective from the fact that Kendrick Lamar told him to stop rapping as he likes Drake with the melodies, and he did just that here. So also the fact that Kendrick made fun of him for abandoning his own city's music scene in pursuit of the biggest trends on Not Like Us. And now he has ran back home and is making this album all about where he is from, and of course it's an actual collab project with an artist from there in Party Next Door. Just from the optics of what this album is representing, it is just showing that in this time where Kendrick Lamar has never made Drake look worse, that Drake is just folding even further, as his moves here are managing to make Kendrick's diss tracks just become even more true, and this is especially seen by the fact that on day one of this album coming out, it has already gotten Drake in so much controversy, not just for the music, but also because Drake straight up stole and copied from other rappers' entire creative visions and albums to make and define this record in the first place, and seemingly because of...
Alright, so I'm gonna tell y'all right now, the more I think about it, the more I realize that Drake's a one-trick pony, man. Like, I know a lot of people say he's a great artist, but after me listening to this album, I realized that when people say Drake hit, when one of those dudes on Joe Budden podcast said he think Drake hit the ceiling, yeah, I believe it 100% now. There's no question in my mind that he has hit the ceiling. I just don't think that anything he does nowadays, it's just not going. For me, it's he at this point in his career, he should be doing groundbreaking music. He ain't doing nothing. It's like he's staying afloat by just keep doing this. He was like, oh, somebody said on Facebook, oh, he back on his toxic shit. Like, and I'm like, you're a grown man, bro. Like, what we talking about here? Grown man.
and so much more. Aside from Drake's little corner of delusional fans who still want to stay in the same sad place that he is, everyone else hates this thing. But now, before we go any further into this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And so now when it comes to Drake's first album since this beef, which we are going to call SS for You from here because even compared to all of the other drawn out, long, and cringy titles Drake has used in the past, this ranks among the very worst. So far, this album is just creating more problems than you could possibly imagine, and for all of the most embarrassing reasons, because despite Drake in reality having so many different things and experiences he has been through in this all-time low in his career, and any half-decent artist can turn this into multiple albums and experiences worth of material and songs.
That's what I'm saying. This album to me doesn't. It's like I just listened to this album last year. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, oh yeah, this album came out. It's like it. I'm telling you right now. I swear to y'all, I'm not making this up. I swear to y'all, this is how I feel. I really believe that if he was to repackage this as views and just say this is views, only his core friends would probably know that this is views, that this isn't views. Like, I'm telling you, these songs are so interchangeable with all his albums. It just sounds like something that he like. One thing I could count on with Drake is he's gonna stay in his own. He's gonna stay in his pocket. He ain't gonna leave that pocket, boy. You know what I'm saying? Because all his songs to me has a certain sound that is just him. You know what I mean? I could give him that, but I mean that doesn't mean it's good. It's just you already know what you're getting when as soon as he starts to sing, you know exactly what you're getting. And some of these songs on this album is so bad, I can't even stomach listening to it. And they sound incomplete, but I'm going to get into that in my review. So let's keep it going.
Subject matter and content that Drake talks about here manages to rival an album as laughable as For All the Dogs, as his most immature. Because when the stakes have never been higher and when Drake has never been in a more pivotal position for the future of his legacy as a rapper and artist and for his career in terms of the industry, he has decided to switch up that mentality from taunting Kendrick Lamar and telling him to drop music over and over again, and now he's trying to tie everything together, including his biggest failures, into these immature narratives that he is trying to push throughout song after song on this album with lyrics like this. And now when it comes to the concept of a creative drought, I think what is very clear is that there is few albums out right now that can even rival this record in that category. Because really, with this album and its 21 tracks, which so many people are saying is making for one of the most tedious listens they have heard in a while, because beyond the quality, which is a conversation for later, there is hardly any variety within the beat choices, flows, and voices, and of course the subject matter, because Drake does not want to face reality. And now just putting into perspective how lazy this entire album seems to be, and ultimately how this album just from
that's exactly what I'm saying. This is such a lazy project. It's like, and let's be clear here. I review music. I've been reviewing music for a long time. I listen to a lot of music, and I tell you, from all genres, man. I listen to everything. You know what I mean? I love music. I love music to the core, to the point where it's like I'm obsessed with it. Only thing I probably love more than music is colognes. I have so many of those. I should do a cologne channel. You know what I'm saying? I definitely should. I have a whole lot of colognes. And I mean, like a lot. That's all I'm gonna say. But I mean, to me, it doesn't sound like. It just sounds like he just like. It just sounds like he's on autopilot. Like, I'm just gonna do this, and that's gonna be that. I don't care how it comes out. Let's just get it done. Let's just do it. Let's do it. Like. You know what I'm saying? I even go as far as saying this album doesn't sound fun at all. It doesn't sound fun. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it going.
Sting is making a song like Not Like Us and everything Kendrick Lamar said seem more true. It comes down to the fact of what Drake did to release this album, which is truly disrespectful to hip-hop and really the entire music in our world. As really, before we go any further into the actual music on this thing, which really may be a favor considering the conversation around this album, right now, so many hip-hop heads and people have realized that Drake is never coming back, and even despite the fact that now we have a new album from him, because he doesn't even respect the culture, his peers, or the craft of hip-hop enough to come up with original ideas. He is really in bigger trouble than we could have ever imagined. As from the branding and title of this album, which is riding with the initials of SSS, and that has all been over everything for Drake and Party, to the artwork they have been releasing, like the back cover, which is featuring bunnies, and even on the front cover of this album, which a smaller rapper is saying that OVO took from him without ever crediting him. Overall, with this new album from Drake and Party, it has been discovered that they stole the entire creative direction for this record from other artists, and specifically, with the Rabbits and the whole SSS moniker, they stole this from none other than one of the most respected MCs working today in Freddie Gibbs, as with his 2022 album Sold Souls separately. From the rabbits, which are not just his signature trademark, but the album's mascot, to the SSS branding and title, which he made the entire slogan and concept of this record around. All in all, using these two same elements at the
Bro, that's crazy. I have to look into the camera for that. Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. You know the thing is, I noticed that, but I really didn't pay no attention. That's crazy. So you stealing from Freddie Get? You know what? I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not gonna sit here and say he stole from Freddie Gibbs, even though you got the rabbits on the back. I mean, it's kind of hard to defend that one, Drake. To be honest with you, I mean, is that a coincidence? Like, come on, bro. It's kind of hard, but I don't know. What y'all think?
of your record does not just happen by accident. And while Drake fans were trying to defend him and say that this indeed was the case, because in their eyes, and again, these people are not hip hop fans, they are Drake fans. They are so superficial that they think Freddie is irrelevant and insignificant, and that because Drake is so big, you would have never even heard of the guy. The best part about this all is that after all of the questions around what actually happened here, we got a confirmed story about a time that didn't just confirm that Drake knows who Freddie Gibbs is, as we saw a literal picture of the two together, but we also found out that Drake was supposed to work on music with him, and not just on any record, but for this very album, which had the exact same branding as Drake and Party's record that just dropped. And seemingly Drake was well informed on what...
I'm gonna say this, and I think this is kind of funny. I think Drake worked with so many people, he does so many things that and I don't know if he sometimes, maybe he do this sometimes, but I don't know if he purposely do these things, because it's like sometimes I think with people is if you hang around people so much, or you listen to something so much, you start to develop certain things in your brain. So like, for example, like battle rappers, right? Battle rappers, you hang around battle rappers, 9 times out of 10 you gonna probably say a bar that somebody said before. You know what I'm saying? I think that's how Drake is sometimes. I think sometimes he be having so many different things going on that he don't realize, or he could come up with an idea and one of his peoples be like, yeah, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? And they probably know that comes from somewhere else and they don't check him on it. And he just basically runs with it. Now, this whole thing with Freddie Gibbs and the rabbit thing, I mean, Freddie Gibbs has a whole video with a rabbit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how he would mess that one up.
Concept and presentation of this thing was gonna be. And so now solidifying the fact that Drake has now pretty much straight up copied what Freddie did here, and really making this story even crazier, is that Drake also was supposed to and agreed to be on a song for Freddie's project back then, and while Freddie sent him a record that was produced by Pharrell, and keep in mind this was before we knew that Drake was extending his beef with Pusha T to him, as nobody has ever said anything bad about Pharrell because he's one of the nicest guys in the music industry. And then of course Drake never did the song. When we look at this in its entirety with all of this, from the fact that Freddie has been mad that Drake stood him up, to now the fact that he knows that Drake made a conscious decision to make something so similar to his work. I mean, before we even get to the actual music here, it's no surprise why Drake did nothing to win anyone back with this record, and why it's already getting so much backlash, because it's overall trying to stand up and create an aesthetic with another artist's vision. And I mean, if you wanted to try and give Drake the benefit of the doubt here even, as Drake is known for reaching into pockets of hip-hop and stealing other artists' sauce and then fronting it as their own to his fans, and especially he loves doing this with artists who are smaller than him, because with For All the...
That's true. I can't, Drake, I can't defend you on that one, bro. I can't, bro. You do be taking other artists' stuff, bro. It's on record. You take a lot of people's stuff, bro. And again, I don't understand how anybody could put Drake in any top 10 or top 5 when he steals from artists. He does this all the time. And on top of that, you got people writing your diss track. All right, man. All right, bro.
And then Scary Hours 3, this is exactly what he did with all the Conductor Williams and Alchemist drumless production, as again, he just stole this entire wave of what rappers like Westside, Benny, and Conway popularized, and he really never gave them their proper credit. As really, from the producers he worked with in this era to the jacket he wore in the 8am in Charlotte video, that was all from them. Overall, with Drake now having so many similarities to another rapper who, while respected in the industry, does not have his popularity and fan base size, I mean, this doesn't just happen by coincidence, and whether Drake thought he could get away with this or he just didn't care at all. Ripping work out of your peers' hands and trying to claim it as your own is what Not Like Us verse 3 is about as a whole, and why the
And I'm gonna tell y'all that's exactly this is exactly why people say Drake is not of the culture. Because honestly, and this is what I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, Drake doesn't have an identity. He does not have an identity. He doesn't. Of his own, he don't have an identity at all. He has multiple identities from other people. He's never been just himself. Every time you see him talking, he's either talking in a different slang. He ain't talking like I said. You see him talking. One day he's talking like he was raised by a Jewish mother. Next day he's talking like he from the hood. Next day he's talking like he from Jamaica. He doesn't have an identity. He does not have an identity. And that's one thing that you got to understand when you come talking about hip hop or the culture. You got to have identity. You got to have an identity. He doesn't. Not at all.
record worked so well in the first place, and now with all of this? As we are now in a new chapter of Drake's career because he has finally released a new album and he is trying to make some sort of a statement to win people back. While I'm not going to talk about my personal opinion on this record yet because we will be here for way too long, so be sure to leave a like and subscribe to stick around for that. Overall, what is important and what we can tell that is so significant to the entire story of Drake's career and hip hop is that when it comes to the people who are not your fans, who are making these desperate efforts to support you and try to make this thing not fail, and especially in this time where character matters more than anything, and again, Drake has never been in a worse place because Kendrick Lamar just won 5 Grammys for Not Like Us, and he played it during the most watched Super Bowl halftime show of all time, which speaks for itself in terms of the impact it is having, as Kendrick Lamar and as a result his message have never been seeing a greater impact.
I'm just gonna say this, man. I know a lot of people was hating, but I see now a lot of people coming around. I see a lot of people coming around. I actually got a news clip that I'm going to share with you guys in one of my videos where this news clip from Newsmax guy, white guy, of course, he says all these things about Kendrick. And I got a couple of questions for him. You know what I'm saying? But there's another guy in the video who breaks it down. We're going to watch that video together. You know what I'm saying? Y'all see that coming up. That's probably going to be on the After Hours show, but you'll catch it. All right, so let's keep it going.
Well, between everything against him and now the product Drake put out, which is a record built off work from other creatives who actually have talent. Just from hearing this thing once, you can tell that there is no growth or maturity being shown here, and even when it comes to Drake's ability as a hitmaker. So far, there is not a single song creating waves and making a moment with people like all of his other albums have in the past, even if that comes from a meme where the music is otherwise lacking, like we saw on For All the Dogs with the collaboration between him and Yeat. And because of this, overall, as Drake puts this record out into one of the most competitive landscapes in the industry that we have ever seen, as from stars from Kendrick Lamar, SZA, Bad Bunny, and The Weeknd, to so many others, there are a ton of people seeing super strong performances with their new records, and in Kendrick's case, his entire catalog is doing numbers that Drake could never, as really we have never seen a more successful rapper than Kendrick in this time. Overall, this little R&B album Drake has with Party Next Door that people are dragging for all of these reasons on day one does not seem like it's going to be able to compete and have any sort of longevity in the industry. And when you see...
That's true. I told y'all, man. Listen, man, I didn't hear Bad Bunny's album yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really too much of a big Bad Bunny fan, but I didn't hear his album yet. I'm sure my woman wouldn't be listening to it, but yeah, I didn't hear his album yet, but I'm sure that it's probably better than this joint. I'll tell you right now, it's probably better than this joint.
Drake has presented himself here. And again, in this time where all of the music is evolving and from the sounds we want to hear to the stories we want, artists are pushing the bar forward for what defines greatness. Because again, from Kendrick Lamar to The Weeknd specifically, in their own ways, they have shown what the standard needs to be for an artist and the work they put out in the moment. This album, which has Drake putting people to sleep because it is not moving things forward, just seems like another bad move.
Yeah, I literally put that on Facebook. I said this Drake album is fire. I said, I mean, it helps me go to sleep. I mean, it's had to be fired for something. Like, yeah, people was laughing. Jones funny.
And especially now because this record has shown the entire hip hop world and Drake's peers that he will just blatantly copy your work without any regard, which again is something Freddie Gibbs has now called him out for, as there is no getting around what he has done. Overall, everything is looking terrible for Drake in this album, and as we see this record come into the music world and try to win back everything he lost and all of the ground that has been taken as Kendrick Lamar has had the greatest run we have ever seen from a rapper, when you put everything together, it seems clear that from here on out, while we don't know how all of this is going to end yet, if we compare the acclaim and excitement that GNX got when it dropped to the laughter and indifference we are seeing here that is really turning into disdain already, well then SS for You may end up being an even bigger mess than we originally thought. And so now,
Yeah, man. So you know what it is. All right, I'm gonna tell y'all like this, man. Before we get out of here, I got this review coming up, and I was gonna listen to the whole album on like on you know break it down, but I'm not doing all that. I wouldn't even make it past song 5. Like it's long, and it's not good long. I could see if it was long. Weekend album is long, but it's good long. This joint is not good long. It's like, all right, bro, come on, bro. A lot of these joints is just skippable, repetitive hooks and all stuff in it. But we'll get to that. But yeah, he's right, man. He's right. You can't be out here stealing people's stuff, man. You definitely can't be out here stealing people's art that work, because they're gonna come after you, especially rappers. Rap was built on not biting. Like they used to always say, "Oh, he bit my." They used to be fighting back in the day. It was different back in the day. You took somebody's style or something like that. Oh yeah, they pulling up on you. It was a clear fight. Like they ain't played no games back then, no games at all. You know what I'm saying? So, but thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all, man. I mean, bear with me. I'll be back in the studio soon. So let's get it. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there too, man. Just wanted to put that out there, man. Love y'all guys. See y'all. Peace. Bye.